Welcome back. In the first part of the show, I gave you a glimpse into the positive and the negative aspects of hiring a property manager. Now let me give you some additional facts that could be deal breakers for a landlord in selecting a property agent. One of the first things I learned to do when selecting an agent was to see what the calibre of his tradesmen were like. Did he have a decent plumber, roofer and electrician? Were they reliable? How much were their average prices? One of the most frequent expenses a landlord can have with his property is plumbing. During my years as a landlord, the number of times I've been called to send a plumber to one of my properties, and the number of times other plumbers who picked up on previous plumbers and told me what they'd done wrong, and the outrageous sums of money they charge for their mistakes, made me seriously consider going to school and learning how to be a plumber. I eventually did find a plumber who was moderately priced and knew what he was doing. The downside was it took so long for him to come out and fix the problem. So if you get a property manager who seems reasonable, try to check out the tradesman that he has on his books. As nice as the property manager may be, it's his tradesman who can ruin your reputation as a landlord. Now let's say that the tradesmen all check out. Now you're faced with an equally monumental task of checking out the capabilities of a prospective property manager. The laws of a country change frequently, and you, as well as your property manager, must keep on top of those changes. Your manager has to chase the rents, document everything, pay you the rent on time, and make sure that he's referenced the tenants properly and has accepted documents that are legally binding. Both you and the management agency have to keep on top of all the properties that you own, when the rents are due, when they're paid, when they're posted to your account, whether the correct amounts have been paid, that you have up-to-date agreements between yourself and the agency, that all your tax records are accurate. If you think that property management is like a walk in the park, you'll be in for a rude awakening. There are complex tax issues, laws governing those taxes, laws concerning tenant rights, landlord rights and evictions and contracts. You need to be prepared to spend a great deal of time and energy as a property investor. It's not just a question of finding a wonderful property. You then have to make sure it remains so. A property manager may not know that the building is developing dry rot. He may not know that the wiring needs to be replaced. He may not know that there's subsidence to the building. But since all of these things and many more greatly affect the property that you're buying, you need to keep on top of these things. These are the things that the property manager is not responsible for. So while you can always get yourself a property manager to handle the day-to-day operations, you cannot really afford to be an absentee property owner. So to summarise, check out carefully the tradesman on the property manager's books and ensure both you and your agent are up to date with the tax laws and your record keeping is up to date. I had a letter from last week's show. John S. writes, "You spoke about renters' insurance and getting replacement value for your belongings. I don't have valuable jewellery, but I do have a lot of computer equipment, electronic equipment that I've had over the years. Should I take out separate insurance on those things, or should I include them in the general policy?" Well, thank you for your question. Computer equipment or electronic equipment generally goes down in price over the years. So something that you might have paid, say, $5,000 for 5 years ago may now be able to be replaced for $2,500 or even less. So that might not be such a good deal. I'd make a list of all the things in your house that are valuable to you, and then I'd check with the different insurance companies on their policies and their coverage to see which kind of cover best suits your current needs. Next week, we'll be looking at real estate agents who are involved with the purchase and sale of properties. We'll cover it from the angle of you as the buyer and as the seller. See you next week.